A guy who knows a thing or two about playing quarterback at BYU, John Beck, joining us on set. John, welcome to the set, man. Great to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Spring football. When you played in the spring game and you look at these spring practices, what are the memories that come to your mind?
Just getting better. You know, spring's a great time to get the pads on, get out and just work on your game. You don't always get the starters like you'd like to have. Guys that have an injury or battling back from something, the coaches usually hold them out. But it's a good time to just continue to work, and you can kind of also build that second tier of players, the guys that you're going to have to rely on when the season comes around to make plays as well. So it's just a great time for the whole team to improve.
Congratulations on signing with the BC Lions.
Thanks.
How much do you know about Canadian football prior to signing with the Lions?
Not much. I've been like Googling.
Ben Cahoon, what's up?
You know, I have talked a lot to Ben. I've been trying to Google like what the rules are up there, watch as much, film as I can. I'm just excited to get back to playing football. It was really hard this last year to not be on a football team and to not be playing, so I'm excited to get the opportunity. North of the border, I am just excited to try a new game and just get back to competing.
How did those conversations start with the potential of you going north of the border to play in the Canadian Football League?
Last year there was a team that was trying to sign me, but I had still had some NFL teams that were saying, hey, you're on our short list just in case an injury happens. So I wasn't ready, and I didn't feel like that was the time to go up to Canada yet. But going through one full season, not playing football, not knowing what was going to happen in the NFL, and then having a team ready to sign me, of course I wanted to just play.
The NFL still the dream if you can do something with the CFL?
I don't know. I got to play in it for 6 years. It was an experience. That experience ended, and I'm ready for this next experience.
Okay. As BYU practices with spring football, they still have another week. Where do you see them needing to get the biggest improvement going into 2014?
Well, if you watch the game today, it would be ball handling.
There's some turnovers.
Yeah, there's too many balls on the ground today. It's hard for me to say because I haven't been able to see all of this stuff. I saw some great plays today by some players. Taysom had a couple great throws. We had some good runs. I know that this is a team that's young, meaning it's a staff that had their first season together last year offensively. It's a bunch of young players that were first-time starters. So the biggest thing for them is just going to be more accustomed to dealing with the coaches, getting used to the game plan that tailored to this offense, and then moving forward. They played in some pretty big games last year, some pretty big stages, and now they're a little bit more accustomed to that. You've already gone to Notre Dame. You've gone to Wisconsin. So now when this group goes to Austin and plays at UT, it's nothing. They just be comfortable and just play.
John Beck, former BYU quarterback, all-time great, led the Cougars to a 2006 Mountain West Conference Championship and a Las Vegas Bowl victory over the Oregon Ducks. Played 6 years in the NFL, now headed up to the Canadian Football League. That's kind of a lengthy resume we got going there, John.
Hopefully it doesn't end. I want this thing to keep going.
10-year career in the CFL.
John Beck with us on a special Saturday edition of BYU Sports Nation. John, you've been working with Taysom Hill. You've had some conversations with him. He's 228 pounds.
Holy mackerel.
When you look at the physical specimen that he is, what do you feel like he can bring to BYU this upcoming season?
Well, he's shown what he can do with his feet. He's an unbelievable runner. I think he's probably going to be the top rushing quarterback. I'm sure Braxton Miller up there at Ohio State. You have the kid up at Oregon that's pretty good as well. But, he's unbelievable with his feet. And I know that Taysom knows the area that he wants to improve in is the passing game. So I've just tried to introduce Taysom to some things that he can do for his body, for his mechanics, things like that. He's a gifted athlete. Not everybody gets to be that gifted with what that dude has. It's pretty unbelievable the things that he can do. So it's just a matter of introducing him to some things that he now can improve on and ways to help him get there.
How many guys can play safety and quarterback?
Well, you know what? To be built like that and to be that good of a runner, but to also have the arm that he has an elite arm talent. Now it's just kind of honing that in, getting reps, fine-tuning things.
And there's, remind me, is it a baseball coach that's worked on his mechanics?
Yeah, it's a coach up there in LA that I've been with for the last year and 5 months, and I've tried to take some of those things. His name's Tom House. He got a lot of quarterbacks now in the NFL. We, on a daily basis, we have 5 to 6 NFL guys come in. It's taking those things I've learned from him and just kind of introducing Taysom to these things, and he's a great worker. He's already started to build those things into his training program, and we've had a lot of conversations on the phone. he's very eager to improve. And, you saw some things that he did today that shows, hey, he has the ability. Now it's just getting reps.
The first time we came in here in the fall, it was the Texas game, and there was a storm and a lightning delay. The wind is picking up, and I fear we might have a 2-hour delay on our
There's
hands.
people climbing on the rafters up here.
Steven Enfield's making sure this thing
control.
doesn't fall over.
We're doing it live. Well, that's the way we like it. John Beck with his former BYU quarterback, played 6 years in the NFL, now headed up to the CFL to play with the BC Lions. John, very kind of you to drop by our set today. I want to get your take on what you think the offense needs to do first and foremost. For me, it comes to red zone execution. For you, what is priority number one for the offense?
Well, in the collegiate game, you can be very efficient on third down. In the NFL game, it's really hard to have the same level of efficiency. Now, I know that this offense is going to be built around the run because that's what it does. It's going to set up a lot of the passing off of play pass, which is great because you have probably the nation's best rushing attack. So I think for them, it's just going to be consistency, putting themselves in good third down situations and then being consistent on those third downs. Don't get yourself on and off the field too fast, especially with the high tempo that they use. You don't want to get your defense off and put them right back on. So I think if they can just improve in that third down efficiency, get back to what I know Coach and I wants. When I was here with him, I'm pretty sure we were like top 5.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
leaders,
it was kind of based off that. Now, granted, we were more of a passing first type team, but I think that consistency in the third down will lead to consistency in the red zone. I think the more they can just stay on the field, move the chains, the better it'll be.
And 10 of the 11 starters that started a game on the offensive line are back. That will help as well. Got a tweet for you. At Bridger Hill says,
Knew this was coming.
Remember when you threw that pass to Johnny Harleen? That was awesome. Do you remember that, John?
Yeah, it was. I just I did a radio thing the other day for 1320, and they played the Greg Wrubell thing of that. It's still, yeah. What's the coolest thing for me is I remember it from my perspective, and looking through my face mask and jumping in the air and throwing it to Johnny. And I will never forget the feeling of just pandemonium afterwards and just putting an end to an awesome season. It was great, And now my kids are asking me, hey, Dad, is that true?
Did that really happen? Here's video evidence of it.
This right here. There was a book that was made, and my wife, not too long ago, read it to them. And they're used to books not always being true, so they're like, okay, is this a true book, Dad, or is this a So it's been pretty neat. I bumped in today Fui Vakapuna, Manase Tonga, Nate Mickle, guys that were on that team with me. And that's what's fun about coming back to BYU. I mean, I love right here the backdrop of the mountains, this field, seeing my old teammates, just being back around this program is awesome.
We were on the sideline together at about the 10-yard line.
Of that play?
I think we were about even with you. We were both at such an angle that we were just kind of like, huh? Where's the ball going?
I had a camera. I was a student at the time, and I was supposed to be recording it. As soon as you released the ball, the lens dropped from my eye, and I just watched it and totally missed it.
That's funny. I had my brother called me after that game saying, John, I was wondering where you were throwing that ball because when you're watching them on TV, you couldn't see Johnny in it. And crazy question, I've always asked Johnny, whatever happened to that football?
Yeah.
No one knows. Johnny has no idea.
What?
He said he thought he was going to die at the bottom of that pile.
Seriously.
So he just let go of the ball. That ball is somewhere. It's probably in somebody's house, in something, and they're like, I took this ball, and I'm never going to tell anybody I got it. Because I don't have it. Johnny doesn't have it.
The best memento ever if you're a BYU football fan.
Who knows? It's in somebody's house right now.
When that happens, be the guy to go get the ball.
Yeah.
Be the guy to go get the ball.
It's going to go up on eBay after today for $10,000.
Fake one.
Yeah, a fake one.
Exactly.
John Beck with us on BYU Sports Nation special Spring Football Saturday edition. What is a viable expectation in terms of wins for this football team next year? Jarom and I have kind of said they should win double-digit games. We feel like they're that good. What do you think is the expectation level?
I haven't had the time to sit down and look at their schedule and say, okay, how do they compare to these teams? I couldn't tell you where any of those other teams are ranked or if they're ranked. But regardless of who they play, I'm just looking at the team. I could care less if they played a top 10 schedule next year. I think this is a double-digit team, no question. I think with how good Bronco is on defense, with some of the guys they have coming back, and then offensively, I think you're going to see more consistency from this offense. I know that a lot of people were throwing their hands up in the air after those first couple games of the season when the passing game was not going well, and what's our team going to do? It's hard. When you have a new staff come in, a new offense, a new everything, yeah, you do spring ball, yeah, you do fall camp, but it's completely different when you start getting on the games and running it. So now you have a bunch of guys on offense that are coming back with a lot of games under their belt. I really say it doesn't matter who they play. This is going to be a 10-win team, and it's going to be a bowl team that's going to win. And you want to see them go undefeated and go to a big bowl. That'd
Sure.
be the ideal thing. But I think the game of football is tricky. Sometimes the ball does not always bounce your way. The good teams, even when it doesn't bounce your way, still put together
They find a way.
10, 11, 12 win seasons. That's the difference between an undefeated season and a 10, 11, 12 win season. To go undefeated, you got to have the ball bounce your way when it needs to bounce your way. And if it doesn't happen, you still win 10 or 11.
John Beck is on BYU Sports Nation live from Lavelle Edwards Stadium. When you look at the guys that hope to get drafted, and BYU has a couple more than they've had recently, as a former second-round pick, how many Cougars do you think end up getting drafted with Van Noy, Hoffman, Unga, Sorensen, and Manu Maliuna mainly in the mix?
I don't know all of that list so well, so I can't necessarily say. I mean, it's easy for me just because Kyle, because of who he
We're
was.
asking you the tough questions, John.
Kyle actually has my same agent, so I know a lot of Kyle's stuff. I'm always asking him, hey, how's my fellow Cougar going to do? Those guys will get drafted. Kyle will get drafted. Cody will get drafted. I can't say where the other guys will go. Sometimes it's a crapshoot, and to be honest with you, sometimes it's better to not get drafted because you may go a late round pick and go to a team that brought you on kind of like, well, we don't necessarily need this guy, but we like him, so let's bring him in. Sometimes signing as a free agent afterward works out way better because you get to go to a situation you have a better chance in. So I tell all the guys that want to get drafted, I told this to Kyle, hey, just hope you go to a good spot. Don't worry about how high you get drafted. I know firsthand how, hey, it'd be great if I didn't go to Miami. But just it's more important who you get drafted by, not what round or what pick in that round. Just go to a good team. I know there's a lot of talented guys. I've actually had some guys, I went and threw a workout, and there were some pro scouts there that talked to me, and they were impressed by J.D. Foslev. And they said that he put together a pretty good pro day. So here's a guy that you're not talking about getting drafted, but yet there's some scouts that are already saying, hey, here's a guy that we'd like to have come in. And I was really happy to hear that because J.D., I think, is an outstanding player. You want to see guys like that get opportunities.
John Beck with us on BYU Sports Nation. My producers have told me that you've met the expectation of what we wanted you to be as an analyst, and they have asked you to come back for a second go-around. Can you stick with us through the break?
Yeah.
All right. We're with John Beck, former BYU quarterback. We told Jeff Judkins, the women's coach, he could take his shaver and do it on set live.
I'll do it.
I just found out now how amazing this UConn team is supposed to be. I was talking to Robbie Bosco, and he said they've won 73 straight games or something like crazy like that.
700. I don't know. They're really
won
really
like 150
good.
out of 151 or something like that.
They're really good.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What's the wife going to say? I see you with the wedding ring, so obviously there's someone else that's going to affect.
Yeah, she's hoping for a UConn win, I think, today.
Secretly.
I hope BYU competes in the game.
No, what
that would
she
be a
said
victory.
was, and she said this on Twitter, use the hashtag BYUSN to keep your responses coming in, by the way. She said that she hopes they win, but that Jeff Judkins prefers you with hair. So
we just get a mannequin that says Jarom's head and shaves that. Yeah.
Spring football just wrapped up here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. We're with John Beck. And John, we have some questions coming in from Twitter.
All right.
Love to know what John Beck thinks of Jason Beck as the BYU quarterbacks coach and what he brings to the table for the BYU quarterbacks.
Say it correctly. It's Ja Beck.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was Joe Beck and he was
Ja Beck.
We still laugh about that. Hey, you know what? It was tricky for me because obviously Max is a friend of mine as well, and I know both Max and Jason were going in for the jobs. But I think the hire of Jason Beck is a great addition. Jason, I tell this all the time to people, I use Jason a lot because he's a very smart football person. He and I would watch tape together a lot, and I'd bounce things off him. Hey, like, what do you see? He would do things in practice with the second group. Jason, tell me why you shot that there. Why'd you take that? Because he's a good football mind. So I think that his mind, along with his personality, those that know Jason know he's even keel, very relaxed. You could probably toss him into a tank of sharks, and he's just going to be chill. That's his personality. So that's how you want your quarterback, right? That's how you want Taysom when he walks into UT this year. You want him just walking in smooth, confident, nothing's too big, right? And when you have a coach that's going to be around him every day at practice, every day leading up to the game, you want that type of a person, as opposed to somebody that's all high in like panic mode or worrying.
Me.
Yeah. Are you that way? So I think Jason's personality with also his football knowledge and the fact that he got to go to LSU, he got to go be an OC up in Vancouver. He's done some things. He was at Weber for a while. He's done some things. He's had some success, and he's a smart person.
I played pickup basketball with Ja Beck, Jason Beck, and I said, Ja Beck, to pass it to me. John Beck and Andrew George said, "What?
Is this
Joe
the
Beck,
hooping that goes on in the field house?
Yeah,
I even did that like 2 weeks ago
Did
with
you?
him. Yeah.
I missed it. Yeah, and Andrew George said, "Why are you calling him Joe Beck? Joe Beck's not even here. Come on, man."
Yeah.
Well, John, before you go, we'd like you to sign our Rise Up flag if that's all right.
Yeah, no problem.
We appreciate the time. Best of luck with the BC Lions. And
Thank you.
I've never watched a ton of Canadian football. I will be this summer.
All right.
We will be
When's the season
breaking
start?
down the games.
I leave for camp the end of April or end of May.
Okay.
End of May. It starts soon.
You're headed up there soon to take care of some stuff, right?
Yeah, I leave there next week to go meet with the coaches, get the playbook and everything. We got a mini camp the end of April, and then their season starts early. It starts like May 25th is when I head up there. So
All of a sudden, BC Lion Nation is with BYU Sports Nation. It will
hey,
merge.
I gotta admit too, I had never even seen a Canadian game till this last year.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm just not ready to hang them up and only play church basketball. I got to keep playing, man. I got to keep playing football.
you
I love
told
it too
me.
much.
Yeah.
So
I saw you at a BYU basketball game. And you said, I'm just not even close.
Nah.
John, great to have you with us. We wish you the best of luck.
thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.